Okay, so in the Mega Harvest update, right, this has been out for, some time, right? And so one of the main things inside of, the Mega Harvest is there's a traveling merchant. So I have covered this in a few videos already where the traveling merchant can give you like some absurdly overpowered crap. So there's like cosmetic ones, but then there's some that are really overpowered. So these come every 4 hours. So the next one's going to come in like 3 hours from now, I think. So the main thing is I'm going to show you like obviously what the traveling merchant is and then how it works. And also, right, we're giving away a bunch of seed packs. If you want to enter the giveaway, just like and comment your username on this video. So one of the first things, right, is there are actually two types of traveling merchants. So one of them will, won't exactly help you make money. It's the one that'll give, it's called like the gnome traveling trader. So he will just give you a bunch of gnome crates. And that's about it. Pretty useless, but unless you're into cosmetics and collecting gnomes, then you can't really do much besides that. But the second one is definitely the better one. So the second one, so obviously, the first merchant is called the gnome merchant, not gnome traveling trader. So he spawns every 4 hours, and then he appears they'll appear next to the seed shop. He'll be for like 30 minutes, and then he'll sell gnome crates, which can, be bought with shekels or Dabobucks if you're pay to win for cosmetics for some reason. You can also gift these. And so technically you can buy the same gnome crates from the shop right here from Isaac from the cosmetics. It's just not guaranteed that they come in rotation. So it's more of like, you can get what you want, like specifically gnome crates, since those are usually more rare over there. And then obviously this isn't the greatest because it's not just in general too good. So I would obviously like not recommend buying crap from that thing. It is kind of horrible, but the best one is going to be called the Sky Merchant. So this is the main thing that'll make you rich. So the Sky Merchant, I think it's called, his name's like Freddy or something, maybe. He'll have this huge big balloon right here, right? The big balloon. And the thing with him is barely like, there's no info about him if you go to like Wikipedia's or something, because he's like, takes forever to spawn in, and he rarely spawns in, if that. So the first time I saw him was like when I was recording in the testing server, whenever they were like cranking these events, like they were popping up every 5 minutes or so. So very, very overpowered. And then, so when does he appear? So from what I know, he only will spawn during the summer harvest event. So if he does, so there's like a rare chance that it might happen. And additionally, I think it's also every 4 hours. It could be that, or it's just every 4 hours there's a chance for each one to spawn in, but he is still very overpowered. And if you do get him spawned in, you're gonna luck out. So let's talk about like what you should do. So if he spawns in, you should try to bite everything. So you can get night staffs and then blood moon staff. So these staffs, let me find if I have some. I just have the nectar staff. So there's like the night staff, the blood moon staff, right? What these do is increases. So during like a lunar night or the lunar moon or the blood moon, it'll increase the chance of getting those mutations on your plants, which is pretty basic, right? It's no like, holy crap, I'm gonna get rich off this, right? But it is pretty good. So this is one of the main ways. So what these used to do is these were normally obtainable back in the lunar track. Now, obviously, if you had a bunch of these, you probably might still have some since the lunar track's been gone. But one of the major things with it is like, you plant one down and it'll guarantee like multiple plants get the mutation. So you can crank these mutations. Like if you're grinding no gold or like mutations like that, and you're just farming money on basic plants that are big with the sprinkler method and things like that, you can easily use the staffs to just, guarantee get these mutations. So there's that. And then there's this thing called the cloud mutation or the cloud touch mutation spray. So obviously the one thing that makes that one overpowered is the cloud mutation spray. So the way this thing works is you can take a basic plant, and then with this thing, I think it's like a 5 times base sell value increase. But why it's so valuable? So the spray costs like, I think it's like 50 million or something, and it's the only way you can get this mutation. So if you're trying to get more mutations on plants, this is the only way you can get that mutation. So if you stack this alongside any other mutation, it'll have, 5x more, and it's really rare. But it's it's like the currently only way you can get these other than other crap. But then alongside this, once the merchant leaves, right, the sprayer becomes, ultra limited. And then on top of that, it's also like he barely comes in. So what you can do is like profit off of this system. You do want to try to get the Sky Merchant, right? When he spawns in, you can jump in every like hour or so to check if it is spawned in. The one thing though is you have to be in the server before the start of the hour, or else you can't join in when the hour's already started, because then it'll mess it up. And then some players, like, you can join, I think there might be notifications system for this. Also, my Discord server, we have a stock notifier. So you can get notified on stock, right? Like there's a pineapple in right now, and I can see this because of my Discord server. So boom, pineapple, really good. So we have a stock notifier, a gear notifier, an egg notifier, and a weather event notifier. Super helpful. You should check that out. But alongside all of this, what you really need to do though is try to get this and get that gun. So if you're putting like the honeysuckle method or crap like that to make a ton of money, you need to try to get this mutation, because once again, it's just yet another thing that'll make you so much more money.